Working about 1,000, and we'll set this. I'll just have a quick check of the grain. I don't know if anybody can see that on the camera, how that sort of some of the the dampness has come out of the timber. So what I'm going to do now is a few basic cuts to sort of do a little bit of shaping on the top of the vase on this one. Got the tool rest just below sort of centre, and I'm going to be using spindle gouge. I'm just going to be using the sort of the wing, and I'm going to be doing like a drag cut. So I'm going to be sort of putting it into the hole and then just gently dragging back and sort of shaping round. I have to be careful with this because it can sometimes actually make the piece of wood or the chuck should come off the chuck. Come off the thread if it's not fully tight because of the action of this action. But I've got the chisel at about what I call 10 o'clock. Sure, I've talked about the clock when I've been here before, about with the flute at the top being 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock fully over to the left hand side and 3 o'clock turned over to the right. So I'm at about sort of 10 o'clock time, or maybe 10:30, and just dragging that cut round. So I'm cutting with the wing of the tool. Gently bringing it round. This gives me an idea as well. I can see whether I've got any little splits in here. When I get to this stage. In a way, this project is a bit similar to some of the hollowing projects that Pete's done, but of course the only hollowing is literally a drill. So it's not something that you need to have all the fancy hollowing tools to produce something that you can present to someone. So I'm now just going to reduce the width of the top. I think that the width, when I look at the shape, I think that needs to almost be certainly half the thickness. I think at the top, maybe just over. Is it something to pick up? If you're going to if somebody is going to be picking this up off their sideboard, they're going to be putting their hand around. They're going to get hold of it. You don't want something that's going to slip out of the hand as well. So this is just with the flute of the tool, and about 1 o'clock I would have said, and I'm just getting that bevel rubbing. I'm just doing a cleaning cut across. Quite often, as I said, I would normally use maybe a spindle roughing gouge to take some of that off, maybe a bit quicker. Be careful I don't split too much off. Not too bad. I'm now just going to adjust the tool rest slightly, and I'm now going to do a cove. I think of these when I make something. I think of things as being a series of cuts. And if you look at the neck of the bottle, that's simply a cove. Maybe with a slightly tighter radius on the top than coming out. And then this is just very much an elongated bead with a slight flattening out at the bottom. So again, it's about developing the shape. So I'm starting off with the creating that cove with keeping the bevel rubbing all the time. I've got the starting off with the chisel at 9 o'clock, and I'm just picking the cut up and rotating round. Take a couple of remove some of the waste. Have a feel of the neck and see what it's like, see whether I'm happy with the thickness is going to come, where it sort of starts to flatten out or whatever. Just bring that tool rest in a bit closer. Actually, I'll bring it round. Keep checking that it rotates nicely, especially when we go onto some of the off-centre pieces, because you can adjust the tool rest thinking you've gone in that bit closer, and of course you end up with finally something bangs. If anybody has any questions, please feel free. I like to look at the neck and think, is that nice? I'll probably just take a little return on the top. I mean, I quite like that sort of shape and size. Probably make it a little bit bigger. Work out a sort of a rough length. I'll just come in with a parting tool and just give myself a sort of a know where I want to sort of finish. with the spindle gouge, and I'm looking now to getting a nice sort of, to get that sort of quite sort of equal. That's the right word, phrase to say there. So I'm going to sort of pick a sort of centre point and try and sweep that both the same off of that centre line. Soon start to see the shape forming up. I've started finding that if I get a few ridges, I actually just get a scraper out, just to take the high points off, because I find that sort of quite sort of quick. Maybe it's a bit of a cheat, but it's a tool that I've got sat there, so it means it evens the shape out a bit. Just doing it slightly in a trailing fashion. I would have said at the moment that this is too bulky at the bottom. Take a little bit more out of here. I want it to finish a little bit flatter. So this is a very simple piece. This is really a big bead, and that's just a couple of big coves. We've done the piece down. Of course, your finishing is where you can make it that bit special. You spray it black with ebonise, using some sort of black ebonising spray, and then you use some iridescent paints on it. If you've got a beautiful piece of wood, you could probably just leave it as it is. You could do like Peter did with his piece in the annual competition, where he beat it up with a hammer, I think, and give it like sort of a copper effect. So really, it's a case of just having a bit of a play on the lathe with some shapes,